So a review of the function of human resources, I'll highlight for you here. Human resources has evolved over the years. It has many of the same functions it has had, such as employee benefits, payroll, writing job descriptions, more the technical or tactical side. But where it has evolved over the last 10 years, but especially the last 5, is that human resources has become a very essential strategic role that is intended to think about the future needs of the organization as well as the current needs. And so depending upon the size of your organization, if you have a human resource director, or maybe as a small business owner like in ours, I'm the human resource director, you may be too, the strategic thinking involved in planning for the future reminds us that we need to involve the HR person or function more than we ever have. Also, human resources has become much more of a sounding board for managers and business owners than before, almost somewhat of a counselor, if you will, but someone to talk with. In the past, much more technical, much more tactical in role. So that's how it's changed. If I were to summarize the importance of the human resource function, it's that it's responsible for putting the workforce together and keeping it together. There was a time in our history where when I first started my career, human resources was primarily there to fill our open positions. As a manager, I just wanted people to interview, and it was HR's job to line them up. It's much more than that now. It's not only marketing to get the best candidates to apply for positions, but it's also working within the organization to help keep that workforce together and to help the business be productive and profitable. So we know as a small business owner, we wear many hats, and today's conversation touches on the many essential roles of the human resource function. We looked last time about hiring decisions and the consequences or expenses involved in bad hiring decisions. Drag on morale is one of the greatest ones that I've seen that I think we often underestimate. But turnover and bringing in someone who doesn't quite fit or has a toxic personality can really wreak havoc on our businesses. We talked about behavioral interviewing, what it is, a little bit about how to do it. Basically, it's a method where we interview the candidates by asking more open-ended questions, and we also encourage them to tell stories about how they've actually had an experience in the past. The basis behind the behavioral interviewing premise is that past performance is the best predictor of future performance. So unlike in investments in the stock market, when it comes to behavioral interviewing and human resources, past behavior does tend to predict future behavior. We threw out a few very good examples of behavioral-based questions. I wanted to show these to this group here again today. You can see the theme in these questions is open-endedness, planfulness. We need to give the candidate time to think about it, and allow some silent, quiet time in the interview. But when given the opportunity and we ask questions like, describe a time when you did not agree with a coworker about something important to you and how you handled the situation, we can get quite a lot out of someone's answer in terms of their attitude, what they've done in the past, what they feel about disagreements in the workplace. You can get a whole lot, especially if we listen after we ask the question. What does it mean to be an employer of choice? An employer of choice is being a place, regardless of the size of business or the structure of business. It can be for-profit, nonprofit, government, anything. A place where people want and they seek to work. It's a place where an employer has earned the reputation of being employee friendly. In particular, generally it's an organization that has upward and horizontal career mobility, because one of the top things people are interested in is opportunity, opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow and perform. And another key characteristic of an employer of choice is that the management team values training, it values professional development, and it knows what healthy employee engagement looks like, and it constantly has a pulse on the morale of the organization. So all of the sessions offered by the Small Business Development Center, and certainly this one on human resources, is giving you information and ideas so that you can think how they fit in your business so that you can become more of an employer of choice. What are some ways that we ensure that we are attractive, or at least getting the attention of the top talent out there? One is having a recognizable employer brand. When we say Google, we often immediately think of more relaxed work environments, creativity, innovation, flexible work schedules, those sorts of things that we know about. And those things are important to many people. What we want to do as a small business is not only market ourselves with our products and our services and the quality with which we offer, but we also want to get out there that we're good employers and we care about people and we stand behind our team. Many ways to do that. One of the best ways is word of mouth. Our current employees will talk about their work experience. And so it's really good to have employees have positive experiences that they can share with others. A couple other ideas. One is be looking for people to join your team when you don't necessarily have an opening. It may be when you are out shopping, it may be when you're out to eat, it can be anywhere, but constantly think about and identify first, but then constantly think about what are the characteristics and the attitudes that you need in your organization in order for it to do and be what you want it to be. When you see that out there, introduce yourself, introduce what business you own, what you do. You never know when you're going to have the next opening or when there's going to be an opportunity for growth. And you just might remember that someone at such and such restaurant that you met a few weeks ago. Know the mission of your organization and clearly and frequently be able to communicate that vision, that mission and vision actually. Then after we attract the top talent by being known as employer of choice and having a reputation of being employee friendly, then the idea is let's keep them. How do we keep them? Training and professional development are essential. One, that we value it and we consider it a high priority in our organizations. And two, that we deliver on it by making those things available. For a small business, we have limited resources, right? We have limited money, we have limited time. So it can be a challenge. What we want to do is work with our employees to learn from them what do they want to learn? What do they want to do? It may be as straightforward as having the employee job shadow or hang out with you for a day. It may be as simple as sharing a project with an employee and using it as a case or a practice whereby you're not only working on a project and getting it done, but you're also talking about how it's going. Those things are developmental, and the only thing they take is time. And neither of those examples, hanging out with a manager or sharing a project and discussing its progress, they really don't take time either. Open communication is vital, and the foundation to anything healthy in an organization is trust. Trust with our customers, trust with our employees. So that's a high level overview of the human resource function and things we talked about in the first session. As I said, you could go to the Facebook page for the BMCC Small Business Development Center. You can find YouTube video, not only on this HR 101 session, but a number of sessions that have been offered by the Small Business Development Center on a variety of topics. Let's look at this notion of contractor versus employee. We did touch on this in session 1, but we're going to spend plenty of time on it here. The reason is, as you indicated in the true false question, it's a big deal. There is a difference between a contractor and an employee, and there is a growing number of contractors out in the world, and the government identifies that and wants to make sure that these people are classified correctly so that there is a fair and equal treatment of taxes and employee benefits, etc. It's a big deal. So what is the difference? A contractor is somebody who works for you, who is responsible for delivering a certain result, and they decide how to achieve that result. So it might be my business needs a new website. We don't design websites. You certainly don't want me designing your website. So we might contract that to an individual. And we look at that individual in that case as the website expert. We don't care when they do it, how they do it. It's that we want to have an effective website at the end of it. In that case, they're part of our group for a specified period of time and for a particular reason. Website development, 3 to 6 months, whatever. At the end of the year, we do document and report how these contractors were paid, and we do so through a 1099, which we must produce by January 31st and get in the mail out to our contractors each year. On the other hand, in contrast, we have employees. And who are they? These are the people who do the work day in and day out according to how we direct, according to a schedule that we direct and standards that we have about how and when and what they do. These are employees, and employees receive a W-2 also by January 31st of each year to summarize their compensation and taxes and so forth. Why does it matter? Because there is a difference. As I said, independent contractors represent the largest growing group in the U.S. workforce. There's a term out there called gig economy. It's not my favorite term, but basically what it means is that there are many opportunities for people to work on projects and to do a variety of things over their career, and to do so working for themselves as a contractor for someone else. Employees are not required to pay contractors a salary or benefits, and nor are we required to withhold employment taxes. So that's kind of nice. That's a benefit to the employer side. The responsibility for that reporting mechanism then is put on the person, the contractor. Currently, to add to why this difference between contractor and employee is such a big deal, is that there are currently 3.4 million employees who are being incorrectly classified as independent contractors. And so incorrect classifications has many ramifications, financial and otherwise. And so there are some consequences. If we unintentionally misclassify, we could be charged a fine or penalty for each W-2 that we didn't file when we should have. We could also be imposed a percentage of our wages. In addition, more up to 40% of our federal taxes can also be asked for and taken. And if we have a failure to pay taxes as a result of this, we can receive a bill of an unpaid tax liability up to 20% of our total tax liabilities. So there's a financial as well as a consequence as a result of unintentional misclassifications. Now, there are cases where there's intentional misclassification. Maybe a business owner thinks that this is a good way to avoid taxes, or maybe the business owner has a hard time paying for benefits, so they think if I contract all my teammates as contractors, I'll save some money. Not a good idea, especially when we do so intentionally in order to avoid a responsibility. And we see that the consequences, including criminal penalties, escalate, including prison, for unintentional consequence. So, or excuse me, intentional consequence. So we encourage and work with our business owners to think through the definitions, and we've provided some tests, if you will, some thought-provoking questions to help guide us through the thinking. Should this person be a contractor? Should this person be an employee? Or, like sometimes has happened in our business, folks may start out as a contractor working on a project. They really like us, we really like them. It could lead to more business. We make them an employee. That can happen as well. One or the other, or a migration to becoming one or the other. But some test questions is that we look at the behavioral control and we ask, does our business have the right to direct and control the worker for the tasks that they do? Do we give them instruction? Do we provide training? Do we give them a schedule? What sort of financial control? Does the business have a right to control the business aspects of the worker's job? Is there a budget they must adhere to? Do they have a business credit card or not? How much authority have you given them in a financial way? Those are some questions that help us decide how involved is this worker in the business. The third, relationship of the parties. Are there contracts between the parties? Does the business provide any benefits like insurance, pension plan, vacation, sick pay? If so, we're starting to look more like this person should be an employee. This is a really nice checklist. This is an independent contractor checklist that you can use that describes a case where you want to classify as a contractor versus an employee. That contractor, I won't read all of them to you, but I'll highlight some. That contractor maintains their own business account. They do have more than one client. We have a contract with them describing a relationship, and they're in charge of their own business records and tools, and they set their own hours. Okay, Christy, did you have something to add or a question?
Oh, I was just saying this is good, but I did have a question real quick on the 1099. Somebody asked me this and I actually wasn't sure. I know that you send the 1099, fill it out and send it to your contractor, but do you also register it with IRS somehow?
Yes, you do. There is, just like when we do our W-2s, there is a summary sheet or a cover sheet, if you will, that has each one of the copies of W-2s. The same thing is for 1099s. And so that gets submitted to the IRS by us, the business, and then the individual contractor or employee is responsible for reporting theirs. So there is double coverage on that for sure.
And can you do that online? Or do you have to mail it?
You can do it online. You can also mail it. You can do it yourself, or you can have a tax preparer, accountant, or bookkeeper do it as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
To clarify, the 1099s, there's several different types. So it depends on, they have a miscellaneous behind them, or an NEC, or there's several different kinds. For farming, for example, if I rent pasture, I need to do a 1099 for renting that pasture, only if it's over $600. Now, of course, that amount can change. I'm not sure what it's like. Susan, maybe you can answer this. Is that for even if I have someone that cleans up bookkeeping for me and I pay him $300, would I need a 1099 for that?
Great question. The magic number in non-agricultural business is also $600. So if
The
it's
same.
under $600, we don't have to report. If it's $600 or greater, we are required to report. I advise business clients, and I manage my own business in such a way I report it anyway, because
Sure.
I don't want to be in a position where that threshold changes and I didn't get the memo. But $600 is the magic number.
Right, and it's aggregate in that it's not just for one project you had them do, it's aggregate for that tax year. Also, getting back to how you file it, most of it is paper. The IRS does not have a mechanism to do this free, like you can do your W-2s for free. So the 1099 usually has to be documented on paper and then completed. I have found there's several companies out there. One is Tax Bandit. They will generate like a 941, 943 report, and you pay $5 and they will send it electronically to the IRS. So you're not having to scan it, print it out, and then complete it and mail it in by snail mail. I just feel more confident when I see that the IRS has received it versus putting it in the mailbox. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
Thank you, Lori. And for everyone on the line, Lori and others on the SBDC team are experts in a number of fields. Agriculture is a big one, and there are many additional rules, opportunities to keep in mind if you're in the ag business. So do reach out. And in addition to that, one of the things that Lori said I would like to emphasize is that there is help out there, i.e. Tax Bandit, TurboTax. There's a long list. We encourage people to get help when they're doing these financial reporting, taxes, and it could be a bookkeeper, it could be an accountant, it could be one of these resources, but getting help is a good idea because you want to get things right the first time when you're talking about employee payroll reports and tax reporting and things like that. One instance of a mistake can cost much more than the amount you might pay someone by the hour, for instance. To help further classify whether somebody should be a contractor or a worker, there is a federal form SS-8, and it's called the Determination of Worker Status form. You can fill that out and submit that, and the purpose is that somebody at the IRS looks at it and then gives you their opinion of how you should classify that worker. So that's a good idea as well if you're just still kind of on the fence and unsure. All right, employee benefits. Let's just throw out using the chat box. What are some examples of employee benefits? What are some employee benefits that you have at your job or that you offer your employees? Flexible work schedule is important to me. I work many, many hours, but I like the idea that I can choose when I work those hours so that I can work when I'm at my best. Not all employers can give that opportunity, but that's more important to me actually than anything else. benefits like health insurance, education, those sorts of things. There's an article here that you can go out to, and this PowerPoint, by the way, will be available through the Small Business Development Center, as well as this is being recorded so you can watch it on YouTube. But this article goes out to the best employee benefits according to people being interviewed in 2021. And I think so that we can get more to the 102 pieces, I'll go by that, but do take a look and you will find that salary is not number one on that list.
Looking for helpful places.
Thank you for watching our video. If you would like to speak with a business advisor at no cost to you, please feel free to reach out. We're the Small Business Development Center at Blue Mountain Community College. Please attend one of our workshops, either virtually or in person, or just give us a call. Thank you.